And we begin with security matters. The death toll from Friday's attack on the wedding travelers at Mangu community in Mangu Local Government Area of Plateau State has risen to 13. In addition to the 8 corpses that were recovered on Saturday, the bodies of the 4 travelers earlier declared missing were said to be recovered on Sunday, while one of those injured was also confirmed dead. The victims, comprising 32 men, women and children, were traveling in an 18-seater bus belonging to Mangu Bello University, Zaria, from Basawa community in Zaria, Kaduna State, to Kwaran, Pan Local Government Area of Plateau when they were attacked. They were said to be traveling to attend a wedding ceremony when they ran into the assailants around 8 p.m. I beg your pardon. The attackers also reportedly set ablaze the bus conveying them. In the meantime, 11 states are taking steps to commerce ranching as a way to address the age-long violent clashes between herders and farmers, which have claimed several lives. The states ready to commerce ranching are Lagos, Plateau, Ondo, Zamfara, Bauchi, Delta, Niger, Kano, Jigawa, Nasarawa, and Anambra states. The development comes against the surge in killings in Benue and Plateau communities linked to armed herders. Last week, over 200 persons were murdered in Yewata, Benue State by armed assailants. President Bola Tinubu attributed the incident to land grabbing and vowed to go after the perpetrators. And now to discuss this, we're joined by President Plateau Peace Practitioner Network, PPPN, Nanmak Bali. Nanmak, it's good to have you join us on the show, and a very good evening to you. Let's just get started. Do you believe the ranching plan addresses the underlying structural violence and historical grievances between pastoralists and host communities?
Okay, thank you. Thank you for having me this evening. Nice being here today, and lovely sharing my thoughts. If you look at it, you discover that this has been happening over and over again. So it's nice that we keep trying some things to see how we can get all of these crisis issues being settled. Yes, I will say yes, but for every state, we have our peculiarity. Although let's not forget that all of this is happening not just in Nigeria, and it's more of like a global thing, and we're also having the impact of it here. So yes, ranching could be part of it, but as we try the ranching, we'll try it with caution, and not just trying it like an experiment, but I think it would be nice that we get some of the stakeholders' engagement. That means more of those community people, the natives, who sit down, and the government sit down with these people, make them understand the importance of this ranching. But yes, it could be. Let's try it and see, but let's not forget the peculiarity of every state, particularly the issue of the native of this community. Some other persons will really not want this ranching. Reason is this: some others will feel like possibly their lands are going to be taken and the rest. But yes, let's try and see if this will work.
And how can trust be built between communities and the government in areas where the ranching plan is viewed with suspicion or resistance, like you noted?
Beautiful. So now that is why we talk of more of this community engagement. There are more stakeholders in this community. There are more people of the natives of that community. So what the government will need to do is to engage more with these people, engage more with the natives, engage more with the herders. The most difficult part of it is not just the herder thing, but where you get people that come in, you hear assailants coming, and they just disappear into thin air, and we keep calling people unidentified, and the rest. That's where the challenge comes. But when you have herders that are there, and you can see them, and they can come on a round table to sit down to agree on some 1 or 2 thoughts, at least we'll go somewhere. But when people, you don't see them, and you keep hearing people came in, caused destructions, and they just flee into thin air. That's the most difficult part of it. But when you have genuinely that persons are there that you can talk with, that they can come on a round table, then this could be a very positive way to go. So engagement, and more engagement with herders and the natives of this state. Well, as I said, don't forget we have peculiarity, but more engagement will do. And sincerity, I think and also sincerity of purpose. Once there's sincerity of purpose, we'll get there.
I mean, besides engagement and sincerity of purpose, there's also the matter of coordination frameworks. So what type should exist among the 11 states to ensure uniform standards, conflict resolution mechanisms, and most importantly, data sharing under this ranching initiative, should it work?
Oh, fine. So that's why, for me, my own opinion personally, we cannot have a uniform approach. The reason is this: you cannot take the template of Lagos and bring to use in Kaduna. You cannot bring the template of Lagos and say you want to use in Nasarawa. You cannot take the template of Plateau and want to use in Benue State. Those are quite, the peculiarity differs. Very, very. So what is there is, let's try what can work in one community. If it doesn't work here, let's see if another will work in another community. So then that means the architecture of all of this, as I said, let it be with a lot of sincerity. And as the federal government comes in to implement all of this, anything that doesn't work can get to be changed. And that's why I keep insisting on the issue of engagement. You can go to a community. Every community has our own way of settling crisis. Every community have our own natives in that community. Every community also have herders that come in to graze in those communities. In fact, from time immemorial, people have been living together. People have been having disagreements. People have been solving conflict amongst themselves. So if you come into this community, just like I keep saying, let's engage some more. But you cannot take a particular template from another state and want to use in another state. It will be a little bit challenging because there are peculiarities about these states and the natives of that state and even the herders in that community.
Right. I mean, Nanmak, I want to say thank you so much for taking out the time to join us today to give us a bit of insight. But we wait to see what the 11 states ranching plan would look like, and the news we'll be watching as is a developing story. And hopefully this will be a lasting solution to the armed herders crisis we're seeing in the Middle Belt. Once again, thank you. Let's switch gears now for more security stories here. Violence erupted in Gadan Ladu, Gandhi area of the Kano State capital. As security operatives prevented some youths in the area from trying to kill a young man who attempted to commit suicide. The youths claim that the young man is embarrassing the community for attempting to kill himself for frivolous reasons. Now, News Central gathered that the young man who climbed the top of a billboard said he was going to kill himself if Kano popular celebrity TikToker Abdul Dawan did not make himself available to see him, a situation that got the youths angry and decided to attempt the mob action. The police successfully rescued the young man, but one of their officers was injured by the irate youths. Interesting times to find ourselves. Our correspondent Mano Bagudu was at the site and he joins us now for more update on the situation. Emmanuel, many thanks for joining us. A very interesting turn of events here. First of all, what do we know about this young man?
Yes, it's a young man, probably, allegedly suffering from mental health. And of course, we were told that he came in from neighboring Yobe State, Potiskum, precisely. Of course, he claimed that he's here, he has been staying here for 1 week to see the popular celebrity and TikToker Abdul Diwan, and he's not able to see him. So he has to kill himself. So he has to climb that billboard. And if the people of Kano and authorities cannot make available the celebrity to come and see him, I mean, he's going to take his life. And then, of course, the youths in that community are not happy. They feel it's an embarrassment. They feel it's even sacrilege. That's why they came to kill him. In fact, they make an attempt to kill him. They were even digging a grave to kill him. And it takes the intervention of the police to prevent that mob action. That is a very, very, devastating situation that actually caused a lot of tension exchange of fire was, seen in that particular venue. It's just really a bad situation. Yeah.
Right. And so far, we understand that one police was wounded in process of trying to save this young man from the mob that tried to gather to try to stop him from committing suicide. How is the condition of the police now, and in what custody? Is the young man in the hospital or in the police custody?
Yes, first of all, the police officer is being admitted at the hospital here in Jerigeti, very close to the scene of the incident. And of course, the police are angry. They are trying to put their man in order for now, and they have kept the gentleman in custody and trying to investigate what really prompted that. And then, but for now, that particular area is being guarded by police officers. The place is still tense, and anyone following that axis must be very, very careful. Talking about the Good and Ladu, Duguri Road, Gedi area, in Mangu Local Government Area of Kano State. Yeah, thank you.
Well, Emmanuel, I must say thank you. Well, we're very glad that no lives was lost. We are glad that he was rescued, and we do hope that he's getting all the attention, medical attention that he needs at this time. Emmanuel Bagudu, our correspondent live from Kano, giving us an update following an attempt on suicide by a young man in Kano State. Let's go on a short break, shall we? When we return, VDM, several school children protest indefinite closure of schools in the Federal Capital Territory. We'll tell you all about this and plenty more after the break. Stay with us. Hey, welcome back. The Nigerian Navy says it's deploying more personnel and firepower to the Lake Chad axis, an area long affected by the terror reign of Boko Haram and ISWAP. Nigeria's Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ikechukwu Ogala, made this known during an operational visit to the Navy base in Baga, Kukawa Local Government Area of Borno State. News Central's Umaru Kirawa completes the report.
The shores of the Lake Chad and other hinterland communities across different parts of the Lake Chad region has been a major bottleneck in the fight against insurgency. The operational visit of the naval chief to the area comes on the heels of an attempted assault by Boko Haram and ISWAP fighters, an attack that was swiftly and successfully repelled by the armed forces.
The armed forces of Nigeria, particularly the Operation Hadinkai here, is doing extremely very well, and that is the reason why most of the insecurity has been on the downward trend in the last few months. But all the same, we realize that there are still challenges, there are still areas that we need to improve, and we work on that, and surely we'll get better results.
Theater Commander of Joint Task Force Northeast Operation Hadinkai, Major General Abdusalam Abubakar, reiterated the federal government's commitment to the troops, not just in words, but in logistics and welfare to boost morale.
Let us rise, please.
The Borno State government praised the commitment of the armed forces and assured them of more support.
I want to assure the Chief of Naval Staff that Government of Borno State, under my distinguished leadership, will partner with the Nigerian Naval Navy in order to achieve our objectives. Our objective of clearing the waterway between Baga and the Republic of Chad. Inshallah.
And we're going to set up a task force to ensure that the objective of clearing that is achieved since these equipments have been provided. We will also look at some of the challenges that they have. Issue of inadequate manpower. Recently we deployed additional 200 men to the Baga, and we're going to deploy additional 200 again. We've also identified some of the equipment challenges and logistics which we are going to address.
As the Navy and other armed forces fortify their presence in Baga and its environs, hope rises once again for the communities that have endured more than a decade of terror. In Maiduguri for News Central, Omori Kirawa.
Joining us now is Omar Kirawa. He's on standby to speak to us more on this. Omar, welcome on the program. Can you specify what types of firepower were deployed? Are we talking about heavy artillery or like fast attack crafts, UAVs or maritime? I mean, what are we looking at in terms of firepower?
both natural security deployments are usually not made known to the world or to the press, basically for the terrorists not to really know what type of equipment the armed forces are using in order not to also go and re-strategize and then attack and then destroy civilians and of course the armed forces to themselves. But what the Chief of Naval Staff said to the troops at the naval base Lake Chad is that more equipment are being redeployed, are being deployed to the area of operation, and of course more personnel will also be deployed so as to tackle some of the teething problems in the shores of the Lake Chad. That people now are enjoying relative peace, although there are problems in the nooks and crannies of hinterland communities. But the Chief of Naval Staff says they will work hand in hand with the military, the civilian JTF, and other armed forces in the area to ensure that peace and stability is maintained not only in Borno State but across the Lake Chad.
Now, how did local populations react to, or local indigenes there react to the increased military presence?
Well, both natural people are very much happy when they see increased number of armed personnel in their midst, because in fact that is what many people, including farmers and displaced persons, when we speak to them in the hinterland, they said they need increased security forces so that they can access more farmland, because the people are recovering from the years of insurgency, and as such, they need to pick up the pieces of their lives by earning a means of survival by through farming and doing business, transporter business, and so on and so forth. This is largely what the local populace are saying with regard to increasing number of personnel to the various communities in the Lake Chad.
Well, Umar, I must say thank you for taking out the time to join us. Umar Kirawa here, our correspondent live from Borno State. We'll switch gears now as we head on to still in the north, where students at the Ibrahim Badamosi Babangida University in Lapai, Niger State, have blocked major roads around their school, protesting what they described as lack of protection by the authorities following the killing of a 300-level student of chemistry by gunmen suspected to be armed robbers. Now, some students claimed that such attacks had been happening repeatedly for the past 6 months, including rape of female students. The university's security office appeared vandalized by the angry students. Some students had also reportedly occupied the palace of the Emir of Lapai to express their grievances, angered by the latest killing that they said happened around 2 a.m. on Monday at the Students' Lodge in Ndakitapa, around Lapai, opposite the university's main gate, after the student resumed for academic activities Sunday evening. Community members of the manhandled Ahoada East Administrator in River State, Goodluck Iheanacho, are protesting his assault by some hoodlums. The River State Police Command had earlier confirmed the assault and the immunity of the Ahoada West Local Government Administrator, Goodluck Iheanacho, on Friday. A statement by the River State Police Public Relations Officer, Grace Irene Koko, revealed that a group of hoodlums numbering 30, led by the Chief Security Officer and the Chief of Staff to the Local Government Area Administrator, stormed the council secretariat and attacked him. In a viral video, the administrator was seen being beaten with a cutlass or a machete and canes by some hoodlums, alongside the council secretary, coercing him to resign. Although a letter purporting to be his resignation has gone viral, the LGA administrator went on radio on Saturday to deny ever resigning. Key state actors in Benue, in Plateau State, I beg your pardon, say the ban on the operation of commercial motorcycles as one of the means of transportation within the Greater Jos Master Plan remains in place, restating that unless the Plateau State House of Assembly repeals or reviews the ban, any offender of the law will be made to face the consequences. News Central's Chizoba Niwe reports.
The ban on commercial motorcycle operation has been in force in Jos for some years now. However, for reasons best known to them, these riders have refused to heed the law. In the face of this, the government of Plateau State, at a press briefing at the headquarters of Operation Rainbow in Jos, says nothing will stop its drive towards the objectives it has set out to achieve.
Most of the heinous crimes committed, and they use the motorcycles to just commit these crimes and then fizzle out into the air. Within the few days, there were public outcries on the influx of over 400 motorcycles, into the Bukuru-Jos metropolis. That also, became a greater reason why this law should be reinforced.
We've arrested about 142 motorcycles. So just like it goes with the last question you asked, there are those ones that are personal motorcycles or those that were ridden by security operatives. So once we confirm that you are really on essential duty, and that it's a personal motorcycle, all we ask is that you go and bring those safety kits like the commissioner mentioned, and when you bring such and the evidence that it's your motorcycle, we release them.
News Central spoke to some commercial motorcyclists who are still operating in the areas we visited within the Greater Jos Master Plan.
This is what I'm feeding my family with. I have a family of 9. And they are going to school. This is where I pay the school fees. I want government to help us so that we can operate in our local place like that.
We are appealing to the state government to consider us, as we are saying, to operate within the locality. That is our talk, and that is our crying to him.
Even if it warrants government to maybe create a situation whereby we will have a tag whereby you know your boundary, you will not go beyond that very place.
This is the only means of transport this way now. If any car now, there is no any car that can take you into that place because it's rocks. This is the only means, please. So whatever government are doing, please let them check balance.
While this ban remains in place and enforcement continues, these victims are asking that government looks into some other alternatives for them so they don't lose their means of livelihood. In Plateau State, for News Central, Chizoba and Niwe.
You're watching news now on News Central Television. Let's go on a short break. When we return, there's plenty more. Stay with us. Hey, welcome back. Controversial social media personality Martin Soche, popularly known as Very Dark Man, has issued a 7-day ultimatum to the FCT administration to resolve the current impasse with primary schools teachers so that they can end an over 2 months strike, which has paralyzed activities in public primary schools within the federal capital. VDM, the Very Dark Man, earlier today appeared at the entrance of the FCTA with several children all adorned in school uniforms and called on the administration to take action immediately to return primary school pupils back to the classroom. Addressing the protesters, the mandate secretary of the FCTA Area Council Services Secretariat, Beatrice Garki, called for peace and patience, saying that the FCT minister is doing everything to resolve the issue. President Bola Tinubu has inaugurated the newly constructed A22 Pi Road along the Abuja-Lokoja Road in Kwali, Abuja. at the resumed project inauguration series organized by the Federal Ministry of the FCT under the leadership of its minister, Nyesom Wike. The president commended the FCT minister, the contractor of the project, as well as residents of Bai for the collaboration that has given birth to what was once a mere dream.
This is your road. This is your road, and I urge the community to make ownership of this infrastructure. Guide it, maintain it, and use it to the fullest. Let it be a pathway to growth and bridge to a better life for the youth, the farmers, traders, and students who will move with great ease. This project is one of the many we are delivering across the country, and we will not stop. We will continue until every Nigerian can feel the touch of meaningful governance. On that note, I am gratefully honored to commission the A2 to Python roads to the glory of God and service to humanity.
Today, I will read out what you've done so that everybody can hear. Everybody, so that those who are doubting Thomases can go and check. These roads they are talking about, is it in existence or just mere propaganda? Excellency, today, in 2023-24, you approved for the construction of 6 emergency roads, and I'll name them. One is the construction of Paikori Ibuan Road in Babanada, 9 kilometers. That road has been commissioned. Construction, Gabo, Tokulu Road, with those Span River Bridge, 5 kilometers in Buhari Area Council, that has also been commissioned.
The South African government has sent the Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Ronald Lamula, to meet Zambia's president to try and mediate between the family of Zambia's late president and the government. The family had announced on Friday that the former or the late leader will be buried in South Africa after a row with the Zambian government over its plans for a state funeral. The late family, or the late president's family, on Wednesday stopped his body from being repatriated from South Africa, where he died in hospital on June 5th after it emerged that the president of Zambia planned to receive it upon arrival against the late leader's wishes. In response, the president cut short an extended period of national mourning for Lugun, the late leader, whom he replaced in 2021 after winning elections. A growing wave of democratic disillusionment is sweeping across Africa as citizens grapple with worsening economic conditions, rising populism, and governance failures. That was the central focus of a high-level dialogue held in South Africa, where leaders from across the global south made a strong case for structural and democratic reform, insisting that elections alone are no longer enough. Held in the lead-up to South Africa's G20 presidency, the two-day dialogue brought together over 200 participants, including former leaders, academics, activists, as well as policymakers, to reflect on the state of democracy across Africa and the global south. Speakers acknowledged that while public support for democracy remains strong, poor governance, military takeovers, and widening inequality have weakened citizens' faith in democratic institutions. The Israeli military has struck terrains notorious even prison and damaged parts of the facility which holds many political detainees. The Judiciary Minza News agency reported that the situation on the ground was under control following the attack. CCTV footage showed an explosion at one of the prison's gates, while state TV pictures showed first responders carrying a casualty and searching for survivors under a flattened building. Israel's defense minister said it was hitting regime targets and agencies of government repression across Tehran, including even. The military also said it had struck access routes to the Fardo uranium enrichment plant south of Tehran. In the meantime, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has called on China to prevent Iran from closing the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most important shipping routes. Now, his comments came after Iran's state-run Press TV reported that Parliament had approved a plan to close the strait, but added that the final decision lies with the Supreme National Security Council. Any disruption to the supply of oil would have profound consequences for the economy. China, in particular, is the world's largest buyer of Iranian oil and has a close relationship with Tehran. Oil prices rose following the U.S. attack on Iranian nuclear sites, with the price of the benchmark Brent crude reaching its highest level in 5 months. The removal of Nigeria's fuel subsidy triggered a nationwide cost of living crisis and reignited debate over petrol pricing. While Pegason proposes a price range of 700 naira to 750 naira per litre, Aliko Dangote maintains that Nigerians still pay 55% less than consumers in neighboring West African countries, even with his refinery selling at 815 naira to 820 naira per litre. Professor Ken Ife, a global consultant on development economics, has also weighed in on the unfolding pricing dynamics on Business Edge. Take a look.
How Dangote was going down as soon as the prices come down, and then you also saw how the naira to crude, once it was removed, you saw how prices went up. But the sector that is the biggest challenge that we have, which is the fuel storage, the asymmetry and misalignments in the fuel storage, distribution, transportation and logistics sector, needed to be tinkered with and brought to become much more efficient. If you look at the price stack of fuel as about 825, look at how much are you going to give in that stack to the people who did the exploration, how much for people who drilled the crude, transported the crude, then who refined it, and then by the time it comes out at 825, just look at what the retailers do. They hike this price to 1,200, 1,100, so they're taking a lion's share without making any investment. So that is one thing. So trying to get that sector more efficient is what is likely to drive down these prices far better than what we have at the moment. So I have no hesitation that...
The end of Nigeria's fuel subsidy has triggered soaring living costs and intense public discourse on petrol pricing. Now, while Pegason recommends a range of 700 naira to 750 naira per litre, Aliko Dangote argues that Nigerians still enjoy significantly lower rates, about 55% less than what is paid across West Africa, even with his refinery pricing at 818 naira to 820 naira per litre. Now, earlier on News Central's Business Edge, Abdul Majid Oyeyemi Amusa, I beg your pardon, founder of Dear Nigeria, shared his belief that the issue goes beyond pricing. Take a look.
I wanted us to understand something very simple. Fuel pricing in Nigeria or anywhere in the world is not just a matter of numbers at the pump. It's a deep reflection of our political economy. It's a reflection of our social contract. It's a reflection of our structural and infrastructural vulnerabilities and limitations as well. It's all these things that come together beyond just addition of numbers to decide how much should the price of petrol be at the pump. Because we know that the effect of this petrol price is far-reaching. It literally moves the inflation almost immediately, and it affects households almost instantly. So it's interesting where we are at. We're in a regime where it's about liberalization, it's about getting market structure in place, it's about letting competition come in. So, like you just asked me now, what is the role of NMDPRA? What happens to PEF that have, tried to create stability within all these price disparities that we're experiencing? So we're at the crossroads.
The Nigerian Boxing Federation has announced the inaugural National Secondary School Boxing Tournament set to run for 6 days from the 3rd to the 9th of August. The event, backed by the National Sports Commission, targets young boxers aged 12 to 15 and aims to identify and groom future champions to represent Nigeria. The tournament will feature competitive matches and offer participants valuable guidance from experienced boxing coaches. This initiative marks a major step in youth sports development, with the NBF focused on building a strong foundation for the sport at grassroots level and nurturing the next generation of boxing talent across the country. And still on sports here, Christy Coventry will officially begin her 8-year term as the International Olympic Committee president on Tuesday, becoming the first woman and first African to lead the global sports body. The Zimbabwean Olympic swimming champion succeeded Thomas Bach in a ceremony in Lusaka following her election in March after a one-round vote over 6 other candidates. Coventry now heads an organization that generates billions through Olympic sponsorships and broadcasting rights. A 7-time Olympic medalist, she won gold in the 200-meter backstroke in 2004 and 2008. As IOC president, Coventry plans to expand the reach of the Olympic Games and will begin her tenure with a 2-day workshop focused on shaping future IOC policies and strengthening global Olympic movement. Former Belgium forward Dries Martens has announced his retirement from football at the age of just 38. His contract with Galatasaray expires this month, marking the end of a 20-year professional career. Martens confirmed his decision in a video posted online and is set to make a farewell appearance in an exhibition match in July, hosted by ex-Napoli teammate, and that's Marek Hamsik. He retires as Napoli's all-time top scorer with 148 goals and won 2 Italian Cups during his spell at the club. Martens later joined Galatasaray, where he helped secure 3 consecutive Turkish Super League titles internationally. Now, he earned 109 caps and scored 21 goals for Belgium, last appearing at the 2022 FIFA World Cup. Well, congratulations to him. What an illustrious journey. Well, that's all we can take at this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. Death toll from Friday's attack on Wednesday Death toll from Friday's attack on wedding travelers in Mangu Local Government Area of Plateau State has risen to 13. 11 states have embraced federal government's ranching plan as killings surge. And we also told you that South Africa has waded into the controversy between late Zambian's president's family and the country's government. Now, do remember that you can send us your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number now showing on the screen. Do follow us on social media, shall you? We are at News Central TV on all social media platforms. You can always watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Go TV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and live on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Judith at TV. Bye for now.